Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tale of Four Gamers on what Bobbie has just calculated is our 40th episode, we think. We think it is. We're pretty sure.
Yeah.
But based on how many are in the playlist that I might have not been very good at updating. But yeah, we're going to spend this episode going over the first Badab event in our own event space, our progress with our armies. I'll be honest, it's mostly building terrain for the event space, and your community updates, and also give away a prize after this. Hello. Welcome back. Yes, that's right. It's Tale of Four Warhammer 40K, Tale of Four Warhammer 40,000 gamers. That is the what we call it is like a podcast. It's not a podcast. It's like a stream where us, the four gamers, that is, I always get this wrong. Russ, that's the wrong way. Russ, Gary, Bobbie, and me, Ian, all spend our times assembling armies over a period of months and learning to play some games. And the games we're learning to play right now are Warhammer 40,000, the little-known war game, Warhammer 40,000. We are on episode 8 of Warhammer 40,000. We've played every variant so far. We've played Kill Team, then we went up and we played Combat Patrol. And this time, we went up again and we played boarding actions and 1,000-point games. And we are playing them within the setting of the Badab War, the fantastic, massive conflict that involves lots of Space Marine chapters, which means we're all basically playing Space Marines, which makes it the most fair and competitive of all 40k channels as well. Right, everybody? Yeah.
And Jamie and Beardy.
And that's exactly what we've been doing. Yes, you can see from our terrain layouts exactly how gamey and beardy we are. Before we start, though, we have some news. I've been saying this for 8 freaking episodes. One day there'll be like a boop-a-doop-doop-doop thing on this. So let's just do the news. Events. Look, there's events. They're listed and you can do them. We are running events in our own event space. We'll talk about it a bit later. You'll see some footage, but they are all up. There's a link. If you go to rbyterian.com, there's a link to events and you can book tickets. It's in South London. We're running it all summer. 2 more Badab War events. We're running 2 Horus Heresy events. The first one is sold out. And we are running one, or rather we're hosting one Hate Club Necromunda event. They will be running from now until August. You can see those. Also, in the news stream, we have merch. There's a new merch store, in fact. So you can, again, follow the links below, and you can go and get some merch, like this fantastic Magic Space Frogs tee, or book club tees, or whatever. Originally, when I set up the merch store, I wanted to use T-Mill, which is what Moonstone used, Goblin King Games. I really like the idea of them because they're all sustainable. And then what I found out was that they're really horribly out of stock all the time. So they're really good t-shirts, but no one could bloody buy them. And the way in which you do it through YouTube means you have to have Shopify as well. It was all very confusing. So I've just switched to Fourth Wall now, and it's all a lot easier on my brain, which is a shame. I would have liked to stay with T-Mill, but yeah, what can you do? Anyway, all the products have now moved to Fourth Wall. They're available everywhere. The store is working and they seem to be in pretty good stock. So go over and get yourself a Magic Space Frog. And then finally, stick around to the end of this episode when we will be giving away the Age of Sigmar special character, Tolgar Split Eye. I've been running this on the Patreon, although it's free to enter, so anyone can enter. And all they had to do to enter this is come up with their best story about modeling and bad eyesight. So I will be reading those at the very end of the episode and deciding which one is our favorite. And that person will get sent Tolgar Split Eye. That concludes the messages. So with the messages complete, the big thing we did is we played through phase 4 of the Badab War, Blood in the Stars. This is the one where the loyalists come in force and start fighting the secessionists and forcing them back to Badab. We played it through last weekend, and we played it through at a new venue, which is in fact ours. It's our venue for 3 months. So yeah, we were all there. Did you all enjoy Four Gamers?
Yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. Actually, a really lovely space. Like, it was just the right size for the number of people we had.
Yeah.
I thought it was shit. I think the organisers were a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, thanks, Russ. Yeah, good.
It was so nice. It was so good, wasn't it?
So basically, I'm going to do a whole video about this, but basically, someone in my workspace, like the space that my company, they offered us another one for a really good price for temporary 3 months, just to fill a gap, and it's big enough to fit. I mean, we put 10 tables in there. You could do 11, 12 would be a squeeze. And we use it as an excuse to start a little gaming centre for 3 months and run all the events we always wanted to run. And we only got compliments on the space, which was really nice. Like,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, people talked about like it was a good temperature because we had some AC units. It was spacious. Everyone had lots of room to play. It was clean and tidy, and there was like a tea station and a fridge full of beer. And we had about 16 people over the course of the weekend. People could come on individual days. It was really fun. Basically, everyone seemed to really like the venue. It was nice to be in there. We had about 16 people playing. It was a really nice time, I think. Did everyone enjoy?
Yeah, it's really good. It's nice being local, so I don't need to do all the big transports and hotel booking.
I mean, that's the problem, isn't it, right? When you do an event in London, you've got this problem that everyone takes public transport. Obviously, if we were doing this in Colchester, everyone would just drive. But if we're doing it in London, then everyone takes public transport. And then, of course, at a weekend, the transport might be down, which is the problem Bobbie had.
It wasn't the easiest journey, but I'm glad I made it because it has some really good games.
Yeah, we also tried out a few different things. So I want to get your opinions, really. So we did two things here. So last time it was all a bit random. We were doing combat patrol and everyone kind of had the same army. This time we decided we'd go up one level because we're building these armies as we go. We did boarding actions, which everyone was a bit lukewarm about. People wanted to try it, but no one was really doing much with it beforehand. And then we did 1,000-point 40k armies, which obviously everyone brought. And we played those on 6x4 tables. And the way we did this is I had lots of help from a patron, Craig R, on the Discord, who helped me out with missions. So this time what we did is we listed out all the events of Vrax, and we decided we went and basically looked through the narrative packs and the crusade packs of the last few years and picked out missions that would fit them. So there were some lovely mission packs done. Craig came up with some good missions. I formatted them all to look like the old Badab book. And we did 40k and we did boarding actions. So what does everyone think about boarding actions? We all got to play a game of boarding actions, right?
Yeah, I really enjoyed boarding actions. I like how it's got like a limited palette of the reactions you can do. You know, it's a bit like combat patrol where you've only got like 5 things to keep an eye on what you're moving around. So it's a bit more focused.
Yeah, I had a similar thing. Like
2 games of it, and
did you?
3 games of. I preferred the boarding actions way of playing. I think. I mean, I've always loved Zone Mortalis in Heresy and back in the olden days of Badab when Zone Mortalis was first introduced as part of Badab. And I think there's something about what's the word? You're all closed in. The claustrophobia of it. Something about that it just appeals to me, and just the way in which you move around the board with slightly less freedom and actually restricts you makes you think in some ways more about how you're going to achieve things. Whereas having the big freeform board, sometimes it's too easy to fall into the trap of not really thinking, just doing what looks obvious. Whereas
doing the battle.
Boarding actions force you to look for alternatives.
Yeah. I had a similar thing weirdly to you two. I found boarding actions a really nice middle ground. Again, 40k, you have that thing, and it might be because we haven't played 40k a lot. We might feel differently next time. Of like, you've got your objectives to do. It's a great big open field. You've got you're controlling this bigger army. Combat patrol obviously was really restrictive. What boarding actions felt like is you get to pick your army. And even though the Space Marine detachments are quite restrictive, they're not that restrictive. Like, you can still pick from a load of stuff. So you get to pick your army, equip your army, do your army how you want, but it still feels like a game on the scale of like Combat Patrol. And it's got those restricted stratagems. It's not, but what's interesting is it feels a little bit like you're playing Kill Team, but it hasn't got all the bazillions of cards and upgrades and extras you get in Kill Team. Yeah, in Kill Team, it was actually like too much stuff in your head. You were like, right, I've got to remember, I've only got 8 guys. They're all move individually. They've got 8 different upgrades and stratagems, and they can all do different action. Boarding action, I don't know. I found like it was a really nice balance in the middle.
Yeah, I thought so as well. I say limited, the less stratagems, I think, is good because I know for this edition they've really toned down stratagems anyway, or at least the variety of them. I think almost the limited army lists is more interesting as well because with the removal of like force organization and stuff, there's just such a big, especially for Space Marines, there's so many units to choose from. And these, did we all play Terminator Assault Force, or did people play different things?
No, Russ was playing normal humans, and Gary was playing.
I took a Space Marine Demi Company into boarding action.
Yeah, using the regular strike force that wasn't Terminators or Scouts. I did play the Terminator one, and it is very restrictive. Like you can't afford that much either. It was anyway. Look, I found it. Like weirdly, I wasn't expecting this, but I found it exactly the right level of 40k for me. Like Kill Team, smaller but way more complex. 40k, quite a lot to be thinking about. I guess it seems silly, right? Because we all play Heresy, where we've got more rules, more complex games, way more models, way more units than our 1,000-point 40k games this weekend had. It's just because it's probably partly because we're not used to playing 40k now.
I think the thing with Kill Team, everybody having their own rules, isn't really that big an issue because you tend to learn your gang over several games. So by your second or third event, you've got 15 games with that gang under your belt. So I think at that point, if they didn't have that amount of flexibility and stuff, it might get boring because you'd be playing that many games of the same 10 guys over and over. Whereas finding out what your scanner guy is really good for and finding how to squeeze the best out of him is...
Yeah, that makes sense. And you do play a lot of games in a Kill Team event. Boarding, how did everyone find their 40k games? Like, none of us have really played full-on 40k that much. So how was it? I mean, I horrifically lost mine. Mine had the classic thing that it was like very, very swingy.
I thought it was pretty good. My first game was very close. Quite a lot of the units I was using, like Tactical Marines, they're not the meta for a reason. They're definitely less good than some of the Primaris units and things like that.
You know what, you say that, but what I found, because I basically used a Demi Company all weekend, the number of bodies I had on the table and each of my tactical squads having a plasma gun and a missile launcher, there is something to be said for Tactical Marines as a space occupying and doing some shooting type unit. And people, if you've got 3 tactical squads on the table, it takes a lot of time to get rid of them.
You're playing 40k like it's Heresy, Russ.
As it should be.
Also, our event is Space Marine only. Like tacticals might be a lot more useful when they're fighting against orcs or other.
Possibly, yeah.
We're measuring them up against being like, in theory, amongst the weakest of Space Marine units, but it would not make them the weakest in the game.
No. Oh, also, I should say Andrew the cat is saying hello to the chat there. Hi, Andrew. Hi.
Hello.
Yes, good.
He's trying to bite me at the moment because he wants me to put him down. So I'm going to put him down. Here you go, mate. Go on the floor. There you go.
I did
find... he's getting it. He doesn't want it.
I did find one of the missions very challenging, but I think that's mostly due to my own mistakes. I was playing the Cerngrad capture rush forward and capture objectives, and I decided to get out my rhinos way too early. Because I then later realised that rhinos are actually quite hard to deal with. They're quite tough.
God, yeah.
And I should have just stayed in my rhinos until like turn 3. And
then just got out and had them
right up to the objective and then got out right next to it rather than getting out early. Because I'm so used to playing, second edition where they're Marines in a rhino. You want to get them out as soon as they've moved up at all because the transport's such a
liability.
I mean, kill everyone.
also Heresy, right? Where the general rule for Heresy is turn 1, you move everything up, turn 2, you get it all out. Anyway, yeah, it was an interesting one, right? I played a couple of games. I didn't play everything because I was obviously running the event, so I was the buy. I played Boarding Actions and 40k. I really enjoyed Boarding Actions. I think it's interesting that so many of us really liked Boarding Actions. I would genuinely play that a load more.
Yeah,
40k I was maybe a little bit overwhelmed by, but it's going to be interesting next time when we play 1,500 points, just 40k or weekend, because then it might feel, I wonder if that'll start feeling more like Heresy, and then I'll be out of my weird, in the middle, not sure what the aim of this is zone.
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyway, yeah, that's the plan. That's what we did. It was really fun. I'm going to do a whole video on the gaming center and the terrain and what we did, because that's an interesting subject, like how you open that and get it all organized. I should say, as always, and I'm not sure why, but as always, the Secessionists won again. The Secessionists have won every phase so far, which is really odd because people do switch sides through this. Like, it's not the same people every time. So I don't know why the Secessionists are continually winning. Horrific, like by a huge amount.
I think it might be down to me.
Is it you, Russ? You haven't switched sides.
I haven't switched sides and I keep winning. It must be that I'm an amazing inspirational presence.
You're just very good at 40k.
It might be that the Secessionists are correct.
Oh, what?
The Secessionists might be on the right side and are correct.
Well, that's it. Yeah, they're the correct side. So the gods of 40k are making them win. Yeah. Anyway, the Secessionists technically won, which means they're going to get some advantage next game, but they really don't need it. Either way, Badab will continue in a month's time. We're going to do the next one, and then 3 weeks after that, we do the final one. So that's the plan. Next one is 1,500 points, 40k, 4 games. So if anyone wants to join in, as in London, check the events thing, you can come down and play, as long as you've got a Badab army.
The way you've been selling the tickets, Ian, is if the people can only make it to Saturday or Sunday, they don't have to come for the whole weekend. And is that true for the next event as well?
It's true for all the events. You can just come on one day. It's absolutely fine because there's no requirement to play all the games, right? It's a narrative event. So if you're only available on Saturday, we'll figure it out. With this one, it's quite a complex matrix, trying to make sure that I've got all the right chapters playing the correct scenarios. So they're playing the historical scenarios against the right people who haven't played the same person, who haven't played on the same board. Each board in our event was themed to a specific scenario on a specific world. It gets a bit complex, especially then when you've got some people who are there on Saturday but not on Sunday. I think everyone felt like they had played. The intention is that everyone feels like they're actually playing the Badab War and they're playing the missions their chapter actually did. Mm-hmm. So it's beneficial if you're playing a chapter that's in that phase because, you get to do those things. My Red Scorpions played the Betrayal of Grief against Gary's Astral Claws, and they were trying to save the Red Scorpions chapter master, and yeah, they did. They saved the chapter master. They lost the scenario because there's objectives too, and Gary just went for those. But we did save the chapter master. Russ, your Lamenter, your Mantis Warriors. Yeah, we saved it. He died soon after. Russ's Mantis Warriors fought salamanders on Gargathea, which happened. Like that's a thing in the campaign. So I like that. I like that sort of like it. This is how we try and do it. This is how we run these narrative campaigns. If you can only turn up to one day, we'll just make sure there was all the Executioner players last time only turned up on the Sunday. So Sunday we redressed the board to be Chimera, and all the Executioners played the Chimera mission. That's how we do it. Let's see what happens next time around, I suppose. So let's move on to individual updates. And for some reason in this, I have started with Gary. Gary, what have you been up to this month?
So with the Tyrant's Legion, I finished painting the heavy weapons team. Mm-hmm. So they're the guys that all were the copies holding the shell for mortars and stuff. And that also kind of like worked out what the color scheme was going to be, which is sort of like winter jackets. And I still haven't decided on the basing. I'm leaning more now towards a snow base. And then I had another 42 trips to go. We were talking about it, and you were running short of loyalists. So you were like, all right, halt painting. You're going to play loyalists. I need terrain, so I switched to terrain mode.
I mean, very specifically, there was one set of terrain that you had that we needed, which was a convincing deserted imperial city to do Signax, which is a location. And you have one that you've been meaning to build for ages. So, you switched over to that.
Yeah, so it was my old city, but it was smashed to bits where I pulled it off its bases so that I could put it onto this Realm of Battle board, which I pretty much almost finished painting, but hadn't got the last bits of painting done. All the buildings were like 8 or 9 pieces and were rattling around in a big cardboard box. Collecting attic dust. So it took 3 days of popping around to the workshop, rebuild, and then fixed up all the painting that needed to just cover up all the bits of damage. And I was quite pleased with how quickly that became. It still needs a bit more work. A lot of it is just dry brushed.
It works. I mean, I think you were worried that it would need more work to fit exactly on the Realm of Battle. The Realm of Battle. This is the old Realm of Battle board. You haven't been able to get it for years, but it's a fully plastic 6-part Games Workshop production of a imperial city, and it has like marked out on it like building outlines. And I think you were worried that it would take way more work to get the buildings to fit, but actually, most of them you could put down, and it looked kind of right.
Yeah, so they just needed sort of like adjusting. A couple of them I made like one or tile bigger or shorter in different dimensions. The big job was getting them off the foam board bases that they were originally on, because putting the foam board on top of the Realm of Battle wouldn't make sense, because you're then having
Realm of Battle board. Yeah.
Yeah, plus the foundations is going to be wobbling all over the place on top of the 3D sort of detail. But yeah, no, the city came together well. And then you were saying you wanted a swamp.
We needed another one. We needed a swamp to represent Gargathia, which is a major point of this Badab campaign. And we were going back and forth on like, how the hell are we going to do a swamp table? Until Nathan pointed out he could do like a bit of it. He had all the Warcry terrain he painted in our Tale of Four Gamers Warcry. So he had all that era of bamboo Warcry trees. And we were like, right, what else do we need to make this work? And I was starting with like, do I need to cut insulation foam and make hills? But you had another half to this.
Yeah, so my first thing was I was saying I've got loads of railway trees, like the sort of big round ones. I was like, Russ must have some as well. We can just fill it with trees. And then when I was getting this stuff, the city out of the attic, I was like, I also have all this Death World stuff, which is half assembled, half painted.
Yeah. And
that took a week to sort of finish off. Like it was.
Looks really good now, though.
It looks,
The one is fantastic.
Yeah, I was really happy that we got it done, because now it's like another terrain set that's ready to go and be used.
It's weird, actually. Like it looks. You played on this, didn't you, Russ? It looks sparse when you look at it, but when you assume that all those forests are in fact line of sight blocking pieces, it's kind of probably the most like a competitive 40k board.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was more than enough, definitely. I mean, it's not L-shaped cardboard terrain, so obviously it's not quite as good as we need. But but in terms of having things to move around, move through, blocking line of sight, if you're playing the game like a sane human being, it was definitely the right amount of stuff.
I got to play on it as well, and it was very good fun. And definitely seemed to be one of the popular boards.
Yeah.
Did any of you get eaten by plants or something? The mission had a special like toxic objectives rule, right?
This was really good. So actually, what Craig did for this one, he took a mission whereby the objectives were toxic and reversed it. So the objectives were non-toxic, and if you weren't near an objective, you got bitten by the Death World Gribblies. And so it actually sort of made you want to all move towards the objectives as part of helping you actually want to fight each other. I lost an eliminator, and I lost a missile launcher that my apothecary then put back together. But my opponent Rowan, who is Warp Wing when we talk about things later, he's the guy with the absolutely beautiful salamanders. And he just kept on losing models to this desert, to this jungle world. It was great. I didn't even have to kill his models; he was getting them all killed for me.
He had his camo actually made sense as to why they would have the camo pattern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually worked really well.
Yeah, they looked really good on this. Well, they looked really good full stop, but they looked really good on this table.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, there you go, Gary. So, Gary, mostly Steel Legion, you've got another month to get that up to speed. And otherwise, terrain building, which should be very similar to a few more of our updates. But, so let's move on. Let's move on to Russ. Russ, how did your update go?
So I was trying to get Astral Claws ready, and I was making a lot of headway. But then the whole house move thing that I've spoken about recently on here took a sudden leap forward, and I had a mountain of paperwork to get back to the solicitors that I needed to prioritise, where my wife and I were spending pretty much every evening filling in forms and checking paperwork and hunting through piles of paperwork for other paperwork to then put with the paperwork to go with the paperwork. Yeah. It's a big old thing of paperwork. So I have done sort of a base layer for my Cestus or Cestus, I've forgotten. Cestus, right? Yeah. My Cestus Assault Ram, which is
hold on one second. I think I fucked this up and put Bobbie first. Hold on one second. There we go.
Do you want to do Bobbie first then?
Now you can talk about the Cestus Ram.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, so I got most of the base colours done for my Cestus Assault Ram and all the bits that needed to be stuck on ready to glue on. But I just didn't quite have time to get a couple of character models ready to go with the army. So I have the 10 Terminators almost ready, and I have the Cestus Assault Ram and an old Land Raider I've had for a very long time ready to go. But just couldn't quite get that done. But I'm looking forward to getting this done for hopefully the next event. I'm sure I should be able to do that. But then I too moved on to terrain.
Yeah, with a fucking great. This is was a not salute purchase, right?
This was partially stuff I already had. And I think I showed the pictures of this built but not painted last time.
Yeah, you did.
So this was a not salute purchase where I had some bits already and then bought them all direct off, I think it was Element Games, but I can't remember for sure. But I wanted to build this for my Heresy event I'm running. So we didn't actually use this at the weekend.
No,
but I've got this to go with a bunch of... I've got this to go with a bunch of other ruins. I've got 3 more bits similar to this on the go. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So it's like the painting is very simple. I mean, it's basically black spray, grey spray from above, wash it in weird colours, then sponge it in grey and do the floors. And then just do a little bit of verdigris copper. But I think it looks really good. I think what it needs is the matching piece to go with it to look really good on the table. But we can worry about that as we go. But it does sort of, when we look at the picture you've got up on the screen now, it sort of starts to look a little bit to me like a ruined World War II city almost.
Yeah. I found that with a few of mine.
Stalingrad or Berlin vibe.
I found that with a few of mine that some of my terrain sets, when you put them next to all the overtly 40k stuff, start looking quite historical.
Yeah. But I think this one's gothic enough to look 40k, and actually some of it is like, I think, is it 3rd or 4th edition terrain there?
Yeah.
Without looking so 40k that you can't use it for anything else.
What it is that third or 4th edition 40k corners, right? They look like very gothic if they're meant to be a city, but when you put them in a cathedral environment, they just look like more church. So they look historical suddenly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It looks like a sort of monastery complex almost or something. That led me to my last job. So I've had a desert board for a very long time that you and I, Ian, used to play on.
Yeah, we did.
It must have been around 2010-ish. We started playing on my old desert board with all this terrain. Yeah. But I bought a map for that from P-Works, which I think looks really good with the desert hills and everything on. But I wanted some colour and some industry to go in it as well. So this is terrain that I did buy at Salute. And actually, I think the green contrasts really well with the desert, and I think this table looks really good, actually. And I think people enjoy playing on it, hopefully.
Yeah. I think loads of people got to play on this because it was we called it Cairo because there was we did a load of scenarios in the Pale Stars where which are all like mining planets, and it worked really well. It works really, really well. It's a lovely set of terrain. It's going to be really good for Heresy as well. That.
Yeah, and I think we've got some boards which are really big sort of set pieces, and we've got some relatively simple boards. And actually, I think there's other organisations that run events that have their lovely, huge bits of terrain. But what most of them also have is some relatively, I don't want to say plain, but some relatively normal boards like this. Because I think sometimes you just want to play a game on a relatively normal board where it's about the game rather than the big set piece terrain.
Yeah, we had two next to each other, didn't we? Which we had this, and next to it was like Gary's Badlands with the red mining set. And you're just like, look,
so it's just real terrain. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's just a real terrain landscape with a facility on it, and you're fighting over the facility rather than like it's an entire Hive world or an entire Necromunda board or something. But yeah, it looked really, really good. Yeah. And then your Mantis Warriors went to the event.
They did. So I had to take the Mantis Warriors because the Astral Claws weren't quite ready, which meant I basically laid out a demi company. I feel was fluff-wise, I had a demi company, and I had a librarian for my Mantis Warriors, and I had some eliminators dressed in their camo gear. So I felt like the army was about as fluffy as I could make it. Really enjoyed playing it. I was worried that the army might feel too puny, but actually the weight of numbers of 3 tactical squads was good. The eliminators, once I figured out how to use them after the second game, I started using them quite well, and they started having a lot of impact. But then actually, I think my most fun games were the boarding actions. And I've got a photo there of one particular corridor where my opponent, oh my God, my mind's just gone blank.
Andrew? No,
that was my other boarding action.
It's Jack.
Jack, of course. You can see there his Marines Errant they were down the end that just couldn't get along that corridor because there were so many bodies standing in the way. And it just felt really like two very different forces. And I was just piling in bodies who were getting the job done. And it was so much fun. I had 5 really fun games. Played Andy twice. And I felt bad for him because in both games his dice were bad. I mean, the last game they were truly appallingly bad. like the guy ran times in the game, rolled like a 6, a pair of 4s, and every other dice he rolled was a 1 or a 2 for in a game where his main objective was to get lengthways along a board, and he just couldn't run. So he had all the bad luck in the world. But everyone was good sports, whether they won or lost. And it was just, really, really fun. And it was great to play on these different thematic boards.
Yeah, you got a full 5 games in, and and I know that you got to play kind of everything. And Andrew, bless him, I thought the Minotaurs were meant to be terrifying, and he had the worst dice luck at all over the whole event. But what can you do? Sometimes it happens. Bobbie. Yes. How was your month?
So I managed to get one of my Assault Marine squads put together, or at least 5 of them. I have 20 of these old metal Assault Marines, which is actually quite terrifying because they're just so awkward to put together. I've got 20. They're a nightmare, aren't they? Yeah, they're tough to build. Not my best paint jobs, but they were good enough to put on the table, and they didn't really do much in game. I was using them as jump pack assault intercessors,
right?
And they died a lot because they deep strike in and then fail their charge and then get shot to pieces.
Great,
but it was new model syndrome. That was definitely the problem, and not the fact that I was using them wrong.
I had a squad of 5 of them, and I actually started them on the board in every game. And I wonder, though, I had flamers on mine, and that was really, I think it was the flamers that actually had the most impact on the game rather than the actual men fighting. They did take out a squad of Hellblasters in one game, but I think deep striking them is almost a trap.
Right.
Possibly, yeah, I probably should have just played with them on the table, but you live and learn. Also, painted up, there we go, loads and loads of base adapters. Because all of my minis, literally all of the whole army were on 25mm bases. So I got these. They're from a manufacturer called Hobby Heaven, who were really good, actually quite reasonably priced. The 25mm to 32mm ones are injection molded plastic rather than 3D printed. So they're really consistent and really high quality. Like, didn't need to mess with them, just painted them. And they're tight enough that I can put them on the models and pull them off again. So that was really useful for me. And the 25 to 40 and 25 to 50mm bases were 3D print ones that needed a bit more work to make them look nice, because you obviously got the layer lines and whatnot. And actually, even the 25 to 50mm base, they sorted out for me because it wasn't in their range. I dropped them a message and they had it done within like a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
So
that's really nice.
Yeah, it was really nice of them to get that sorted. And
well, I mean, send me the link and I'll put it in the description. So if anyone needs more.
I actually overbought. Like, I thought, oh, just in case I need to do this for this army and get a bigger size, I've got even more of them set somewhere.
Yeah.
I
mean, to be honest, I still have a whole drawer full of like 2-part plastic 25 to 32 mils that I don't know when I'll ever get through. Now that but hey ho. You know what I tended to find is that when I was when I needed to upscale an army, it was kind of about the time I would do a noob sort of base anyway. So I never got around to using them. But yeah, you've also been painting assembling some things that are not heresy at all. Well, that not Badab at all.
Not even produced by Games Workshop. I know it's right? Crazy. Yes, I've been putting together some of my Ontos Games Rocknauts. I've had like the bikers here. I've had since the Kickstarter, which was a while ago, and I finally managed to find some time to stick them together. Very, very chunky bikes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit them on the second edition appropriate 25mm rectangular cavalry base. I might have to find something a little bit bigger for them because they're quite big. But also put together a heavy weapon squad, which used the 2 heavy weapon sculpts and one of the Thane leader sculpts. That I've slightly modified to give him a heavy weapon as well. It didn't take much. He had a pistol, so I just cut his pistol off and repositioned his arm, and I think it works really well.
That looks really good.
Just right.
They look fantastic.
I actually have quite an army of those now because I've got 2 squads, a leader, that heavy weapon squad, the bikes. I think I need to get a couple more guys to convert into support weapon operators.
Have you got any paint on any of them yet?
I've one of the squads is painted.
Okay.
Make some support weapon operators so I can use my thud guns and rapiers from my Adeptus Mechanicus army in this army as well, because I think they're red weapons. They'll be fine to
that'll look right.
I think that's actually for playing in like second edition, that would be quite a decent army. Maybe put some rhinos in there.
That's all you need. A robot. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, that's all looking good. But it's not bad. How did you only got 2 games in, 3 games in. You got 3 games in. How did that go? Yeah.
Pretty good. So I had after my horrible traveling, I managed to come in and have a lovely game with Will on the Gargathia board, which it was great fun. I didn't manage to get any horrible swamp diseases, mostly because I just sat on the objectives the whole time. My Nova Marines did all right, actually. Even against Modern Primaris, they held their own. And my Terminator captain managed to kill Astral Claw's Terminator captain. So that that's a moral victory right there.
Brilliant. And then
it might have something to do with the squad of Nova Marines and Librarian joining in from behind and taking out a couple of Terminators. Because Tactical Marines, that's one thing they're actually quite good. They get 2 attacks each.
Oh, really? Yeah. With their fists.
Even basic Tactical Marines. Yeah, just punching and kicking Terminators in the back. It was quite effective.
Nice.
And then you went on to the opposite board for the second game.
I did, yes. This was the Cerngrad board, which I really like this terrain.
Yeah, me too. I loved it.
This was against Craig's Lamenters, who are really, really lovely miniature, like really well painted, and a very tough army because it had 10 Terminators in and Death Company. And a Devastator squad with 4 plasma cannons. It was not like actually a nasty army.
He ate through my Red Scorpions in the first game I played. Yeah, in Assault on Hallows Point. Yeah.
I as I said earlier, I got out my Rhinos far too early. I could definitely have moved up in them for a couple of turns and then got out and been in a much better position. I still would have got countercharged by Terminators, which wouldn't have been fun. But this was literally a single victory point in the result for it to be a loss. So,
it was, wasn't it? Yeah, really tight.
It was so close. But it was good fun. Very, very good mission. I really enjoyed that as a mission.
I think a lot of people did. Cerngrad was a popular board to play on. I think people liked it, and it was a fun thing. Yeah, brilliant. Well, look,
if I had another go at it, I might have made some different decisions and maybe have won the day for the loyalists, but wasn't to be that occasion. And I did do. I also did a boarding patrol against Will. The same day, using all Terminators, which was great fun. Terminator on Terminator fight in a spaceship seems very thematic. I completely forgot to take any pictures of it though, so you just have to imagine that.
It's probably somewhere in there. Someone's got some footage of it somewhere.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's great. Glad you got at least that many games in, given the travel problems. I mean, my story is mostly painting all the things we've already seen, I suppose. So my original plan was to do Red Scorpions. There was this plan long ago that I would do Star Phantoms by this point, and I just haven't had time. And so the idea was the Red Scorpion infantry are painted. We need some Red Scorpions because no one else is bringing them. So therefore, I will bring my Red Scorpions and I will do all the dreadnoughts and tanks. And that's what I showed last time. Assembled dreadnoughts and tanks, and I finished assembling them, and I did spray undercoat them. But then it came to actually painting them. We got the keys to the venue, and so it sort of turned into a game of spending a few weeks getting terrain sets ready. So I went back to my parents' house, went up into the loft where all my old stuff's stored, and I pulled down every box of terrain I had. I think like a lot of us, we found that we had like a number of things that could be sets and a number of things that were like half built or should go with them. So it was a good game of like formalizing it. So I started out sifting through everything and trying to put it into group. I started out with what we ended up calling like Larsa 2. This is a sort of set of, I built this years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, out of just a load of tubes I got off a theatre show. It's just cardboard tubes turned into and a refinery style tanks and pipelines sort of board. And I'd built it ages ago and sprayed it and put all these lovely little signs I'd found on it. And then it had sort of got battered up. And again, the boards were like cork, so they didn't really, the base plates were cork. And basically I just took it apart, put it all back together, supplemented it with a load of other stuff that was in the bins of terrain, and then gave it all a fresh coat of weathering and in some cases paint. So it ended up being like part green, part yellow. It is literally trash. Like it's one of those boards that's entirely made of rubbish. Tubes and these like pill bottles upside down, all put on, and I cut new MDF for them, put them on solid bases, textured the bases and gave them a ton of weathering, dug out this old like Amira molded swamp river that I'd done, went through and made this work again as a terrain set. And actually on the day, it actually turned out looking quite nice, much better than I expected.
I think it's quite
I think the weathering tying it together is what made it work.
Yeah.
As you were saying earlier, sometimes a simple terrain set can actually be quite refreshing.
Yeah.
I think it also looks better because I remember it being played on the big grey board you had, which was like a lumpy sand-covered board, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was also mostly just silver. I'd mostly just sprayed all these pipes silver and then washed them. So putting some bright colours on there, really helped.
It's a really big glow up from what it was.
So that was like a first week, was like just in the evenings, like I got this out, re-glued it to boards, restuck it down, cut the new boards, textured them, weathered it, sprayed it, and now that is like a functioning, quite a good terrain set, which is nice. And then I went on to another board. So I had these like, where are they? These sort of things. And Russ has got some of these as well. These are old RoboGear clipped together sort of gantry-like buildings. And I'd had a couple of them and a landing pad assembled for an old Necromunda-style forge board. And I've been using that for ages, but it wasn't enough to be a board on its own. And I realized that actually I had a great big bag of these, and I probably had enough to mostly do a board. And I also had this like old Frontline Gaming like city mat, and it occurred that like if I put the right things on it, I could actually probably make quite a good like dock or spaceport, which is something we needed. So I added in a number of things. I added in a load of these like hard foam shipping containers, which are really easy to paint. There's like 10 or 12 of them on there that you can just put wherever you want. And I added in these things. This is one of my favorite things I did. These are just 4 centimeter cardboard gift boxes I got off Amazon. You can for like, I don't know, £8 for like 30, weathered, wood glued together and then weathered. So like tons and tons of crates. I assembled all the RoboGear into a number of buildings. And then I popped down to Troll Trader and got myself a second landing pad and a crane and made myself like a sort of spaceport board, which then works quite well on the road map because it's like a high tech. It doesn't have to be a city, I guess. Yeah,
I think the mat makes that board. It sort of gives you the good contrast between the two things, and
I quite like that the mat's got that like cool grey, and then the terrain's all quite warm, dirty brown grey.
Yeah,
it stops it being boring. You've got
just one colour.
Contrast.
Yeah. I did bring my little boy Lou down to have a look at all the tables.
Yeah.
And he ran around looking at all the tables, and this is the one he picked as his favourite.
He did, yes.
Yeah,
possibly because of the Arvis lighter.
He did enjoy flying little pig around the room, so that did help. That was his favourite board.
Yeah, it was. I think everyone enjoyed this one. It was it worked well, and it works as a set. It's incredibly hard to fit back in the box. It has to tessellate correctly. But so I did that for the second week, and then I moved on. Then we got the keys, and I moved back in. So then the next one to do was Cerngrad. So this is a board I actually painted years ago. I painted it for the Hate Club when we were doing a Siege of Vrax campaign, which we never finished because we got to the first phase, and then COVID happened. Yeah, so we never got to play it. So I painted all the Wall of Martyrs stuff up, or at least about 70% of what you see here. And I'd been in Hate Club, and originally it was a donation. Like I think there was a set lying around unpainted, and I had a set, and we added them together and made a board. And there were a few other people had thrown things in, and I painted it all up. Took it to Hate Club, played like 2 games of Vrax, and then COVID came in. And of course, what's happened recently with Hate, they found a new venue, which is great, but I think basically what's happened is they've now got way more 40k terrain than anyone needs. So I went, look, if you have more than you need, if you don't mind, can I nab it back? Obviously, if they wanted to keep it, absolutely fine. I did do it to donate to them, but I think they basically had way more than they needed. So they were like, yeah, come and get it. So I went and got it back. And fixed it back up again. Obviously, as you do, these things get bad over 5 years. So I painted a whole second set of the trenches. Gary had some of these matching blown up crater trenches. So I stuck those to MDF, textured some boards, and then I did all the bastions. So you had some bastions that you'd sort of half painted. I had a load of bastions in a big Aegis line set, and between us, we could build these loads of bastions. So that was finished off next. That was the next thing to finish off. So Cerngrad is now a full set of like Imperial defense lines, and then finally, just at the last minute, I painted up your red buildings, Gary. So we needed to do some listening station. You had these like hard foam Max Mini generators and radio listening station, and I threw in some. These are actually generators from the Kill Team Gallowdark set, and then some like Aegis lines, and literally I think I painted this whole set. The Badland Hills and board is yours, Gary. You'd already done, but the actual buildings I think I painted in a day or two, maybe.
Yeah, it was like I saw them base coded one evening, and when I came back the next evening, they were finished. Yeah,
texture bases, cut to fit, all done. So I'm really pleased with that. I think they worked out really well.
Yeah, they look really good.
So
they were one of those things that I picked those up at Salute, and it was like, oh yeah, I'll get round to those. And literally 10 years later, they were still in the attic, and it was one of those things where you were saying, just bring the terrain you've got around. I thought they were going to end up with the bastions and stuff. But yeah, you were like, no, I'm going to make a listening station out of it. And I was like, yep, go for it.
Yeah, this became the Chimera.
So I don't have those exact pieces, but I have got some of those. I have got some of those doors and entryways and other bits from that same era
range. Yeah, Max Minis,
which I need to get ready for my junkyard board.
Yeah, a really, really good sort of system where they make the shell of the thing out of like that expanding foam.
And then it's like very hard polystyrene.
Yeah, and then they give you MDF bits to bulk it out, and then some high detailed resin pieces as well.
Yeah, so like on these, the doors are resin, the gantries and radar dishes an MDF kit, and the central base and the building are a piece of extremely hard molded polystyrene. Yeah. It's really nicely done. They're the same. It's the same material that my shipping containers are made out of.
Yeah, for the size of them, they were really cost effective because they did that mixed medium.
Yeah. So I did that. I added in some Aegis lines. Some stuff from Kill Team, and there's an Aquila lander crashed over there that I based. And that's a set. I might add in the the Hivestorm terrain might work well there, but there's like a Mechanicus station. I'm sort of thinking of it potentially as also like jungly. You could cover it in vines and do some jungle terrain, but for now that all works. And that's basically what I did with my time. I didn't get any of the Red Scorpions painted. When I played the event, I played 2 or 3 games, and I played them just with Red Scorpions, all infantry. And played through. It was fun. I played both the Red Scorpions missions that they do. So I played the Assault on Hallows Point, which is where they're constructing Vengeance Station and the Lamenters attack them. And I did Betrayal at Grief, which is the big boarding action one against you, Gary. But yeah, I had fun. It was nice running it. I would have switched sides if we needed to. But yeah, that's it. So we now have a whole set of terrain, and next up, with all our updates done, it's time to find out what your updates are with the community updates. So we start with Robin. Enjoyed seeing all the different updates. He's got his Star Phantoms on the go. This is the Venerable Dreadnought. I do enjoy I always like this model because it's got such a like cartoonishly large punchy fist.
Yeah.
if 40k is the game
it's
where
ridiculous, even for 40k, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon. Yeah. It's such a silly model. It's great. It's so chunky. Yeah, it's same with the plasma gun. And then there's a Terminator with a little Armorium cherub there.
I also like the Dreadnought little red skull.
Little red skull. Oh yeah, he has got a little red head on.
Yeah, little red skull peeking out.
Yeah, looking brilliant there. Very, very nice. Great. Progress on the Star Phantoms. I'm really hoping we get some Star Phantoms at the final event. Otherwise, I'm going to have to suddenly make a Star Phantoms army at the last minute.
Yeah,
which is difficult because I'm going to have a whole Palace of Thorns to build. Finished the last 2 minutes for previous squads. It was the Assault Cannon Terminator and the Armorium Cherubs, and they're done. Tom, another rescued Mark IV Venerable Dreadnought Terminator Chaplain and a tactical squad painted, converted a Retaliator squad, which is the Astral Claws Tyrants Legion, like assault squad with shields, just be running the regular first board squad, and built a Land Raider Prometheus Fingers crossed they can get to the next event. So here's the Venerable Dreadnought. I like the big gangly claw thing. Reminds me of the old Badab pictures. Terminator Chaplain there.
Yeah, it's ancient title from the book.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's what it looks like.
It is.
I'd love to have one of these resin dreadnoughts.
Yeah, that's
even
really
the
good.
legs, if I remember rightly, were slightly extended to match the image more. It's got thighs rather than just hips and knees. It's got thighs between them.
It's the old Forge World claw, isn't it? Like it's a Forge World model, is it?
It is.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Yeah. Terminator Chaplain, last squad there. So that's a little squad going on there. These are the Retaliators, who were like they were like an assault squad with combat shields and chainswords in the old books, which I like being done. And then
designed to put fear of Huron into the mortals. Yeah,
they're designed to keep the Tyrant's Legion in check. Yeah, and then a Land Raider Prometheus, looking really, really good. With the this is the Forge World upgrade kit in the middle, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. So that's the Astral Force coming. Yeah, I also hope that that Tom can make it to one of the events, because there's loads of really cool units there. Brilliant. Tim, on the other hand, is doing the other half. He's doing the Tyrant's Legion. Lots of undercoated stuff and a big photo of what's been finished so far. So loads of undercoated Tyrant's Legion there.
Nice.
And then, coming along quite well, I think. Tim's obviously was at some of the earlier events, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I'll make it again.
Yeah, I remember that that little rocket calliope mortar thingy. I remember that being around a lot. Hopefully we'll make another one. Macariel. So Thomas was playing Executioners, was at the second day of the events. Lovely to see him again. Completed my 1,000 point list with a squad of Hellblasters. Always overcharge. If you don't overcharge, what's Plasma even for? And a Tonk with a comical amount of weapons and like humans stapled to it. This has people stats to it because they're Executioners. All looking very good there. And then
that
obviously
Nighthawk on the side is bloody brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really set great. Yeah, it's
Grimghast Reaper, is it? I think. Oh, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So a big Tonk, and then some Plasma guys, and then a whole game or two that they played on Chimera. I think they played Chimera and maybe Isin, so they were playing. No, Chimera and Signax. That's the Scouring of Signax. That's Thomas's games. Snapshot of your game. Great time playing with fantastic looking armies on excellent terrain. The terrain did get lots of compliments at the event. It was really nice. So Craig R, who
in future.
It's we've got plenty of spares. Craig, a bit of a backlog for things to show. Death Company, Devastators, and Terminators. Yeah, I remember the Death Company. Jesus, they ate my Vanguard Marines with a Terminator Chaplain. Didn't want to paint Lamentus for the Cannon Fodder Marines that you put with Devastators, so I converted some chapter serfs as proxies. So there's the Death Company. Again, looking absolutely brilliant here. And then Plasma guys, I remember them well. And then some serfs who were like the other 5 regular Marines you put with the Devastator squad just to get killed. The joke was that the guy holding the book is holding the instructions for plasma guns. That's how you fire one. Yeah, he's holding the book. He was the last guy to die because he's got the instructions. and then a bunch of Terminators that I know Bobbie had a hard time dealing with too.
Oh yeah, they were very tough.
Beautiful army, though. Looks really, really good. And a bunch of chaplains, because, of course, Lamenters are Blood Angels. Yeah, really lovely progress there.
Because Lamenters are the best ones.
The saddest of all the Blood Angels.
Sorry, can I just say, actually, I'm looking at those checkers, and I'm tempted to go 10 out of 10 on them.
They're very good. I saw them in person.
They're
very well checked, that.
Yeah, nice.
They might be 10.
Checkers checked. Did you not check them on
9 out of 10? 9 out of 10. At least I reckon 10 out of 10.
Very good. Right, the Badab War. For this submission, they finished their Dreadnought. Pleased as punch for the conversion. I think it looks lovely in the Fire Angel scheme. We had no Fire Angels this time, which was annoying because there was a mission specifically for Fire Angels. But yeah, I think I really like the Fire Angel scheme. It's a great, like, gritty, classic Marine looking scheme, isn't it? And again, this guy has his massive hand.
Lovely.
With a couple of spare Fire Angels there standing around. Yeah, they're all looking really, really good. I do like the Fire Angel scheme. It's such a nice like muddy sort of weatherable thing. Krenza, first month painting or posting for Taylor 4 Gamers. So welcome. Binged the entire series in the last month, and it got me inspired to do some 40k. Was hoping to make it to the event, but work complications stopped me. Well, there's 2 more coming up. 1,000 points of salamanders. I was hoping to be painted in the heresy scheme. Okay, so like the darker green scheme for salamanders. They're looking really, really good.
Which I prefer as well.
Yeah, the sort of more weathered, antique-y looking one, isn't it? With the antique gold. Yeah, they're looking really, really good.
I think they can both look really nice. And yeah, this is definitely some very, I like that it's kind of, the green's a little bit desaturated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we say it's the heresy look, but it's also how the Marines are depicted in the Badab books as this sort of desaturated green.
Military green.
Yeah. As opposed to like, we've got Tim on the channel as well, who's been to things, who's doing 2nd edition salamanders. They're like bright green. Both look really good. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, there you go. Hopefully we'll see you at another event. Mingles spent most of the time on a great big tonk. It's been slow progress and sad to miss the previous event. I brought some 3D prints to convert this Land Raider into a Land Raider Helios, which is the one with the whirlwind on top. More reinforcements on the way for the Nova Marines soon. Yeah. So there we go. It's balancing precariously there on some spray cans.
Don't see many Land Raider Helioses.
No, you don't, do you? Yeah. And there's things, and then here we are behind some good old backdrops. There we go.
I love how
Helios
missile this is. It's absolutely filthy Land Raider.
So is it a conversion kit, or is it like just a kit bash? When you
I think they said purchase some bits. So I don't know if you purchased like the middle bit, because obviously that's the back of a whirlwind, right?
Yeah.
And I would imagine it probably fits.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I think it just goes over instead of where the cupola is, instead of the commander, it just sits in there, and then it replaces the front turret with a little aiming thingy.
Quite far back.
Yeah. So it replaced the front turret with a little thing. Yeah, maybe I'll do one of those. That seems like quite a good conversion to do. Yeah. Looks really good though. Again, same as the Fire Angels, right? These pale desaturated schemes are really nice for weathering over.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So there we are. That's the Nova Marines done. Wolves of Sibba, Junus. I've been focusing on Warcry in the last couple of weeks, but did manage to finish a squad of Terminators for the Sons of Medusa. And of course, they're looking great. On some lovely molded floor panels there. Really enjoying the floor panels. I mean, obviously the Terminators look great as well, but the floor panels are lovely.
I love the bionic head on the sergeant.
Yeah.
And one of the Marines, actually. The assault Marine. Yeah, lovely.
Sons of Medusa. Brilliant. Now, Clarky was at the event. Clarky, awesome event. Thanks for making a fun weekend. Tactical Death Watch at a blast. So Clarky had built tactical camouflage Death Watch, but all the Death Watch chapters were Badab chapters. So it was the Badab Death Watch gang, which is a really nice idea. And they did lots of like boarding actions and insurgency missions. I made sure he played like boarding actions and Gargathia and all the sort of special ops missions over the course of the weekend.
I played him in the Sterngrad mission.
Yeah. Clarky was attempting to get extra points in every mission because the way we did it is that you got extra campaign points if it was the correct armies playing, and his argument was his army had all the correct armies in it.
I was about to point that out, that he was trying to get about twice as many points as everyone else put together.
Unfortunately, even if we'd given him twice as many points, it still wouldn't have meant the Loyalists won, unfortunately. It was a brilliant army though, really, really lovely, Leon. Lots of fun little details in there, and some night camo scheme people there. And of course, the only person to bring a plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's such a rare sight to see this. Dark Star, something star.
What's it called?
Corvus Black Star.
Corvus Black Star.
Yeah,
one of my favourite flyers. I think it's much nicer than the regular Marine flyers. I'd love to run a Death Watch army just to use one of those.
A stealth brick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lovely little model. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So Clarky was there. Had lovely to see him again. Drove down. Oh, a few more pics. You'd only be able to take 10 at once. These are pics from the actual event. Yeah, this was a lovely little photo for boarding actions. Played on Signax as well. Did some raids on Signax. Gargathea, of course, because that's a little special oppy sort of jungle mission, and he had the camo for it. And then Larsa. Yeah, played on Larsa against that looks like Craig's Lamenters. Yeah, loads going on there. And of course, had a Vindicar Assassin with him. All very good. Brilliant. Warp Wing. Now, Rowan came all the way from Cardiff for this weekend. So thank you for making the journey. We met Rowan at Salute, actually.
Oh, was it that far, was it? Right,
he did. He came on the National Express the night before. And played Lamenters, wibbly wobbly Lamenters. These looked absolutely incredible on the board. They were really, really nice. I'm not sure. I think he won one, drew one, and lost all the others. It was
drew with me.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
he drew it with you. Yeah. I realized this is the Brutalis Dreadnought with the great big claws. This was like a centerpiece piece for so many tables.
Just a monster.
Yeah, it was like dominating.
Yeah.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it looks fantastic as well.
Yeah, this army looked fantastic on the table, especially like individually the models look nice, but as a force all together, it looks so good.
Yeah,
and the Terminator squads having a range of different eras and types of model were so well painted that they actually look better for being slightly disparate in terms of the models. And that one big Beetleback Terminator, which I think is a Tortuga one.
It is, it's a Tortuga really body
in that squad, and it just makes that one model look monstrous, as if he's a large salamander, the type you read about in stories in Black Library novels. So that was fantastic.
All of these looked absolutely amazing. It was a really lovely army, really, really pretty, and I think everyone enjoyed playing it. It was a really nice time. So hope Rowan had a lovely time. So then we move on. Ogrim Wilson, 2 units of Stormtroopers, 1 of Agents, so it's something to ride around in, and an Inquisitor complete. A few people are bringing Inquisitors as we go through this.
Lovely. That is exactly the type of paint scheme that Terminator needs. Back from White Dwarf, when Francis did that and a whole bunch of Grey Knights and other Terminators in these really, really borderline crazy paint schemes. And without actually copying the paint scheme that Francis Eliard did, Ogrim Wilson here has got the same mentality and the same vibe going. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. They're really nice models. And I like the fact that Inquisitorial Agents, as always, are getting involved. That's some of the old tank crew and ground crew, isn't it? So it's Inquisitorial Stormtroopers and
LE-10 power armored, an LE-10 powered armor trooper.
Over here. Yeah.
Oh, I love light.
And then some generic. So these are the Witch Hunter, Demon Hunter era classic. These are all such lovely models. It's such a nice little army to make, including the.
I'm hoping to see this army in the flesh because it looks pretty cool.
It looks really
the
Yeah, the Legion of the Damned there. Yeah, painted
different.
Very similar to my ones, actually, and painted basically like Fire Ranger, Firehawks.
Yeah,
really lovely. This really, really well done. Lovely to see some Inquisitors. The nice thing about Inquisitor armies, they fit in everything. Very, very good. Andrew, of course, not much done this month. Andrew was at the event, unfortunately, with the worst dice ever to be rolled on a table. Mostly finishing touchdown over the weekend. Yeah, huge amount of the many highlights were a ridiculous 12-inch charge through Tanglefoot grenades by the Centurions. Yeah, I watched that. That was brilliant. The Centurions did a 12-inch charge against Aaron. Finally took down a fortification after 3. Yeah.
Those Centurions did a load of damage on the first round. In the second round, did nothing, despite the captain arriving. And then, even in the third turn, it wasn't the Centurions that took down the fortification. It was the captain that was with them. Those Centurions...
Details, Russell.
Need to be taken away and scrapped. They
played Cerngrad with actual building rules, which no one does. And so things were blowing up everywhere. If we'd known that, we had 2 blown up bastion we just put on the board. But if we'd known that, we would have kept them off and had them as the blown up.
Yeah, well, we just put some craters down. But he had the Centurions, so it's like, right, well, let's put a building there for your Centurions to destroy. But then they just couldn't.
But yes, and a few extras. Andrew is going to play as Angstrom next time, the Forge World of Angstrom. So started to do some Mechanicum stuff as well, which is really nice. Yeah. MC finished a batch of 2 squads of this. Michael finished a batch of 2 squads of Terminators, a chaplain and a librarian the night before the Phase 4 event. With the units of the Blood Angels Combat Patrol painted for February, this brings up to 1,000 points. Clarkie's also posted their photos already, but these were there on Saturday. Absolutely looked fantastic. I like the checking off the days till the event there, which is very good.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's awesome.
And loads of models done here. Checkers all over the place to be checked, and some lovely backdrops and photos.
Yeah.
And here's some of the games.
The blue on that librarian is absolutely bloody fantastic.
It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah. It's really nicely done.
I just noticed a little skull in the puddle of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I should say,
checkers, people are now getting the checkers up to a very high standard. I think those are 10 out of 10 checkers as well.
10 out of 10 checkers. 10 out of 10. I should also say this is the other
the flames and the hazard stripes.
The first day we used this Badland terrain with a different set. Well, before we painted the red Mechanicum stuff, this is some of Gary's Maelstrom Edge terrain, which we used for Hallows Point. This is the Building of Vengeance station. We just swapped the grey. They're made out of guttering and Maelstrom Edge bits. And we swapped that out for the red stuff on the second day so that the executioners have somewhere unique to play on. Looked really, really good. And then, they played on Galen as well, that is. Played on Galen as well. Looking fantastic. Looks really, really good there. Vinny, terrible progress is still progress, right? I'll have a kill team finish by Christmas. Howling Griffins. Yeah. I mean, that's your own fault for doing Howling Griffins, I reckon. It's not the quickest thing to paint.
Oh, that classic sergeant. I love that miniature.
Yeah, it's such a lovely captain, isn't it? Yeah, really, really good. Lovely. Well, keep going, Vinny. You'll catch up. Blood Feast, Iron Man Ben. Not gotten much done since the last update. Next up to paint is a Gravcatten Devastators and their Razorback. Touched a few things up. Got almost 700 points done. Going to build Assault Intercessors next. An Assault Marine Jumps unit with a Jump Chaplain. And trying to make it usable as a 3rd edition army as well. So there we go. More Howling Griffins. Obviously, they take a while, but looking fantastic, of course. I like the Predator, the old Heresy Predator there. Mm-hmm. And the Chaplain is great.
It's great to see the variety of styles of painting that people are doing and making them all these different styles all look good, right?
The Chaplain is the Praetor from Age of Darkness with a Stormcast stick. Is that right? The librarian. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I think it's Grey Knight.
It's a Grey Knight bonking stick.
Yeah, I think so. It's a very nice conversion.
Yeah, it looks great. They look really, really nice. And again, the bright colours really lend themselves well to weathering. Yeah, these are all looking absolutely brilliant. Really enjoying that. And there's the next ones. Next one's on the way. Oh, looks weird seeing a Heresy Rhino with a Razorback conversion, doesn't it?
Yeah, I quite like it though.
Yeah. Then, of course, we're on Howling Griffin's section of this. Will couldn't make it to this event. I don't really know what my 1500 point will look like, but it will probably include 2 Land Raiders, one of them this weird Warhammer World variant I picked up at the previous event. The other I got a release, so it's 25 years old, and there's multiple paint schemes slapped on top of each other. That's coming along. So Will's Howling Griffin's coming along there. I do like the Clean Marines happening there.
Cleaned up Death Guard.
Plague Marines. A bunch of different paint schemes in this Land Raider.
that old Land Raider looks like it lost a fight with a Shadow Sword. It's definitely going to be, if that gets put back together, I'll be very impressed, won't it?
Yeah, that'll go back together.
Yeah,
it'll just be a
bit yellow inside of there,
bit weathered. Yeah, it'll be fine. Sam L has made some progress with Primaris Executioners recently, completing a combat patrol and adding some Blade Guard in front of some lovely Kallax shelving there. So they're all coming on now. That's Executioners, I think, isn't it? All looking really, really good there. Lovely. Very nice. Coming along well. Brilliant. Good work. Also, altered their Terminator armor captain and librarian with helmeted heads, as a few of you have done. And the whole army's looking pretty cohesive there, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. This feels like an army built out of the parts left over.
The suit.
Sternguard and Firstborn Marines in the soup.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Sorry, I haven't got there yet. There we are. Yes, Sternguard Marines in the soup. Ready for stripping. Brilliant. And there we are. That is, with soup, that is the end of our community updates. Well done, everyone. Everyone's going along well. That means there is only one thing still to do, and that, everybody, is the special competition. So finally, everyone, we will do our competition. Sorry for keeping you so long. This month, the competition is to win Tolgar Split Eye, the Age of Sigmar, a special edition, collector's edition model. This was like an event-only model, Dark Oath Chieftain. And so on the Patreon, I set a simple request. Please send me your stories of terrible eyesight in modeling. And I've picked out a few. We can all pick one we like and read it out, and then we will confer and decide what the best one is, and that person will have a Tolgar Split Eye sent to them. So, Russ, what of these stories catches your eye?
So, I see what you did there.
I know, right? I know. Yeah.
Right. I think the one that immediately makes me laugh is Derek. And it's a really short story and very simple, but it's Derek said, I once built a Tau Cold Star Commander, put in all the extra effort on the paint job, magnetic flight stand, very, very proud. I show it to the other Tau player in our group. Immediately he says, you put the legs on backwards.
Oh no. What a disaster.
That's the terror of putting together non-human models, isn't it?
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. I love it.
Fantastic. Very good. Very good. Bobbie, what is your choice for a eye-based problem?
I've also spotted a short but sweet one. Cooking Bakies painted a squad of word bearers, but turned out great.
Fuck Erebus.
Then sealed them with what I thought was matte varnish. It was gloss. And now they look like sweaty chaos bodybuilders. Total disaster.
Very good. Now, you can just matte over gloss. I do that a lot. You can fix that, yeah. but yes, that is very annoying. Yeah. They'll be very definitely protected.
But I do like the image of sweaty chaos bodybuilders.
I know, right? It feels like more of a world eater thing.
Yeah.
Very good. Gary, two longer ones left. What do you prefer?
Right. So one below was Menbels. And basically Menbels was putting together some models with zip kicker and super glue. With the model just glued together, felt an itch in the eye and put his hand up to scratch. Yeah. And all the glue ran down the arm. And because it had also been zipped, it gave him a chemical burn, which is one of the worst burns of his life, and still has the scar.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, specifically because of the zip kicker and the super glue.
Yeah, the chemical reaction.
Yeah, because of course super glue should.
I probably shouldn't.
It was exactly that. Super glue should be absolutely fine on skin because that's what it was invented for.
It does say luckily they didn't get it in the eye. So
just down the arm. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That leaves me with Mazu's one over here. So Mazu says, a few years back when I was painting my Skaven Ark Warlock, I decided that I wanted to get some more chunks of rock on the base, a bit like Warpstone. But before Games Workshop did Warpstone Green, they have a habit of shaking whatever pot they're about to paint, because obviously that's what you do before dipping a brush in it. So I looked around my painting table. I noticed my pot of warpstone glow. I reached for it, intending on using it to paint the green warpstone, and started shaking it. But what my eyes had failed to notice was that the lid was open. And that's when the dorm room I was renting got a lovely new paint job of warpstone glow green streaks on the walls and on the radiator, which to this day I keep one finger on the lid of the plot before I shake it. Very good. Brilliant stories. Well done, everyone. That's horrific. I have definitely done that before. I have definitely shaken a pot that was half open and got it everywhere, but I can just repaint my walls. It wasn't on the radiator. Right. Those are brilliant. We are now going to confer and decide who the winner is. So, upon conferring, we have decided that, entirely assembling your entire model to be completely wrong and not noticing until it's fully painted is something all of us have done. I remember doing a Malkador Defender, the one with all the heavy bolters, and putting them all on upside down, and I didn't notice that I glued the lid on, and didn't notice that I'd taken photos to show everyone that all the heavy bolters were upside down. Yeah, so we can all appreciate that. And Derek, well done. You will be winning a Tolgar Split Eye, and it will be winning your way to you any second. So there we go. There we go. What a big update. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for all your submissions. Please feel free to check out the events, check out the merch, check out the next competition that I'll start at the end of this month. So there we go. Until next time, see you later, everyone. Bye.
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 Bye.